Good morning, everybody. Clearly it's early on student time, so glad you're here. Hopefully this is a great day. As Minar mentioned, we've been doing this for a while. This was originally conceptualized as something that computer science, who was then in the College of Arts and Sciences and the College of Business, could collaboratively do to look forward. NETT Day stands, of course, for Northeastern Empowerment Through Technology. So it's an acronym, and then day, obviously. We pick one day a year to do this. So over the years, this has always been forward-looking at how technology has come into and facilitates our lives. And, you know, when computer science moved into the college about 3 years ago, you know, it got even more fun because the brainstorming started among the faculty in the hallways instead of waiting for a committee meeting. And so it's been fun to watch it evolve. And, you know, we're delighted. This is one of the signature events of the college every fall. So, so with that, I say welcome to all of you to this 15th NETT Day. And back to you for the next introduction, I believe. So thank you, Minar, and everyone who put this together.
So first I want to claim that I'm not an AI expert. So I've been working on different issues over the years since I joined the Penn State in 2004, exactly 20 years. So my background was more on the like network security. So started with like wireless mobile security issues. So I've been working on many different issues like privacy is one part of my research focus, and I also work on the other issues like wireless mobile security, smartphone, IoT, related security issues, and malware detection and vulnerability analysis. This kind of traditional, like classic, the security problem, and also software security and fraud detection. And also AI security. This is a new area which I'm just kind of getting into to do something. So traditionally I have been using AI for security to solve the old days using machine learning to solve some security problems back to many a decade ago. But for now I started to work on AI security itself. Right. So so here these are some ongoing projects. For example, one of these research projects we are working on is like a backdoor detection, removing, in the federated learning case, right? So basically the different clients, they contribute the data. I mean, they contribute they train the model locally, then they update the model to the server. So in this case, the clients, malicious clients, can inject some backdoors to cause the model to misclassify. So these are the things like how do we deal with this kind of situation. And another major research topic I'm working with machine learning. So we know machine learning, right? Through data you learn some patterns. You can build a classifier, right, to tell this is a cat, right, this is a dog, or something like that. With the image, of course, we can also use that to classify as something like a malware, right, or something like that. And so once you learn something, but sometimes we also need to unlearn, to forget, what you have learned. So a typical scenario is like, so from the privacy point of view, right? So if you learn, your model through some sensitive data, right, and so maybe people say I have the right to be forgotten, right? This is the law, right? In Europe, right? I mean, in US, we also have this kind of similar laws. So now your data is already used in the training the model. Now some people will they will complain, say, okay, you should not use my data. You should not use my picture to train the model, right? So now what do? Right? You can say, okay, let me just restart everything, right? Retrain the model from beginning, and certainly that's a big effort, right, to do everything, from scratch, right? So what we want to do is like now you already have the model, right? Now you have some samples or some clients, right? They want to get their data removed, right? So in this case, we want to somehow just unlearn the existing model, right, with certain input. So in this way, it will be more efficient, right? So this is one of these major research area going on with my group. And visual privacy is another topic. So basically, for now, our focus is on like drone, right? The UAV, right? Because they can take a picture right anywhere, right? So mostly, so for us, we want to protect the privacy of this the on ground the people, right? So how can we implement different algorithms? How can we notify the drones, so for the consent and the notification, right? And also, and also protection, right? So when you at the runtime, so we want to control that what you can, take and what you cannot take. Yeah, so these are the things. Is going on. Okay, so for today, my talk will be focused on just give a little bit background on the heuristic-based security, then to the AI-based security, and so then I will narrow down to the specific case for the Honeypot. So so traditionally, the security, yes, mostly it's based on heuristics. Heuristics are just the rules, right? So you come up with the rules, define the rules, then you try to match it, right, with the real real time with the data, right? So so just give you two examples. One example is for the malware, right, and the antivirus detection software. Right? We are familiar with all these different software, and the way they works, the way they work is by defining some kind of rules. So for example, if they detect this, some abnormal size of the file, then you see this is abnormal. Likely, it's like a malware. The file has been infected, right? So this is just some rules, based on our experience. We know that this could happen, right? And other cases like, okay, so there's a file, the executable files, right? So they try to modify some critical system kind of the resource, right? So then this is abnormal, right? So you can define this kind of, the patterns, rules, right? And then you use it to match. And then in reality, we know that, all these, this antivirus software, right? So they have signatures. We call the signatures, right? So that you need to keep update, right, your signature, and then yes, they will match with some new malware, right? New virus. So this is the way that works, with the heuristic-based approach. And other cases like with the spam filter, right? We these days, right? So we receive lots of spam, and then how do we detect them? Right, filter them out. Now you can design some rules, right? Say, okay, in the email, right, in the subject, right, if you see that specific keywords or something like that, right? I mean, we know this is likely to be spam, right? And or maybe there's some suspicious attachment, so there could also be in the indication. And some other cases like an unusual pattern. So you see that by defining these rules, we can kind of like easily, right? We can we can detect a certain kind of like the malware or threats. But the heuristic approaches, so they have some limitations. Okay, there are limitations, and I just give you a few of them here. So the challenge is that this because the rules are static, right? They prefixed. So in this case, it will not be able to match with this like a new malware. Especially we know that the threat, right? They keep evolving, right? Attacks, there are different patterns. So once they know what you are using, right, the kind of rules you defined, so their goal is to try to evade your detection, by come up with different patterns. Yeah, so this is an issue, and so also it's difficult to adapt to this new malware and or zero-day attacks. So we through our research in a few years ago, we actually noticed that the malware writers they actually use certain system like and I think they call the virus total, the system. They try to change the malware this behavior and the pattern. Because for this kind of for the virus total, the system, it has like a 50 or even 60 different antivirus software running there. So we can use that to scan your files, right? So each one of them will give you a label or say this is normal or not normal, right? So maybe you upload a file, they will tell you, okay, so there are 20 of them say this is malicious, right? So some of them say maybe not, right? So the more this antivirus software, in the system, they report you as malicious, then it's likely, right? It's more malicious. So we noticed that some virus writers, so they use this kind of system, right, to design the malware. Once they notice, right, there's okay, now 20 of them, right, label this sample as malicious, then they will modify that. So then we observe the pattern. So 20, 10, until to 0, which means that now, if you, for the final version of your malware, right, now if you upload to the, deployed in the real world case, no one will detect it. Right? So these are the things we observed. Yeah, so this is a challenge, right, with this, all this like a heuristic based approach, right, because you use these existing rules. Yeah. And also, certainly the attacks become more and more complex. Sometimes, attacker can decompose this attack, the process into multiple stage. So each stage achieve later, right? So step by step to achieve the final goal. Yeah. So these are the challenges with this heuristic based approach. So then with this with the advancement of this AI technology, right, in the past decade, right, we see that more and more people adopt the AI technology to solve the security problems. So one of these major difference between AI based, right, and the heuristic based approach is that now in AI based approach, now we analyze the data, right? So given the huge amount of data, so you want to learn the rules, the patterns, right, themselves. So not like based on human expert, right? You somehow define by yourself. So this is a huge difference. Yeah, so you can see that here with the AI-based approach, right, we have about the 6 like a benefit, like from the adaptability to accuracy, the higher accuracy, and better scalability, and also the context awareness, and the behavioral analysis, and also advanced detection. So basically, that's every aspect, right? We can achieve better results, right? So I will skip the details, but we do observe that this kind of benefit. Okay, so in the real world case, we use lots of different AI technology to solve the security problems, right? With the traditional machine learning to later on the deep learning, right, to the reinforcement learning, and also for these days we also use the large language model, as I will also introduce that today. And so here there are also a list of the applications which can benefit from this the AI technology. As you can see that we have the AI-based intrusion detection, prevention, and malware detection, right? So fraud detection in the financial systems, and also so we can enhance the network security. So there's just a short list, right, of different security problems which can benefit from AI technology. Okay, so this is just like I hope to give you just an impression, right, when AI is useful, right, for security. And next, I will focus on the specific problems. I want to give you some concrete idea. So this is based on the is a problem for a Honeypot system. So I will present the 3 pieces of work. Although it's a little bit technical, but I will try to make it as easier to understand as possible. Right? So I think it should be fine. Okay, so I will present the 3 pieces of work. They're all related to the Honeypot system design, and of course the so I will show you the effectiveness of these techniques. Okay, so I just want to give you a little bit of background and motivation, right? So the problems we are dealing with. So So now we are dealing with here the IoT devices, the security problems with that. And IoT is Internet of Things, right? Just like anything like here you can see in this picture, right? We have these routers, and we have the smart the plug, right? Or switches and camera, right? So all these small devices, so they can be interconnected, right, into the system, to the network, and can help us, right, in daily life. So this is quite useful, as you see that this smart city and smart factory, even like military operations, right? So they all benefit from this. But we also notice that with more and more IoT devices, right, used, right, and also there's more security related issues, the breaches, right, and IoT devices, once they are compromised, they can be used to launch larger scale like denial service attack against some well-known websites. So this happened in the a few years ago, right? And still this is a very very attractive target for attacker, right, to compromise these IoT devices. And some of them, because they, for example, only use very weak password, right? Maybe all the days, right? Your routers, wireless routers come with default password, or it's a bit very short, right? Somehow it's easy to just guess. You can get into your device, right? Then they can use that as a way, to launch attack. So that's the thing that we want to now deal with these kind of security problems, right, with the IoT devices. So our approach, of course, there's many different ways, right? But in our research, we want to use Honeypot to help us with the security. So what is a honeypot? So certainly we know, like based on picture, right? It's just a pot that holds the honey, right? So it's kind of attractive. And but in the computer system, honeypot are the decoy system, so they are fake. Okay, they're not the real production system. Right? It's not like a real website. Right? It's a decoy system, and it's used to attract, to engage, and also sometimes deceive the attacker, right? Or analyze the attacker. So basically, that's the purpose. More specifically, right? So you want to inform the defender that an attack is going on, because the honeypot, the way they are deployed is not public. So I'm not telling everyone, okay, so there's a honeypot, this is IP address. No, not like this. So it uses certain IP address, right? It's hosted somewhere, but the normal user, you never know it. There's such a service, some website, right, running there. There's no way for you to know. The way for this kind of system to be accessed is because the attacker, they do some kind of port scanning, right? They have some tools. They scan different IP address, right? And then they figure out, okay, so there's an IP address. They can try to interact with that, with this kind of device, with the IP address. So this is a way for us to know that, okay, whenever there's an traffic, right, request comes in, that it's not abnormal, right? It must be from the attacker. Okay, so this is a way for us to get alerted, right? So if there's an attack going on. And also, I mean, our purpose is to not just know, right, there's attack. We want to analyze the attack, their behavior, because later on, let's say you have this antivirus software, right? Antivirus software, they need to have certain rules, right? As we mentioned, the heuristics. But where do you get the heuristics, right? How do you know, how they behave, right? So basically, through this kind of honeypot system, we can observe, right, that through the interactions, with the attacker, we know that how they work. Okay, so in this way, we can design, right? We can design the heuristics, the rules, which can be used by this antivirus software. So if you have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand. Okay, so let's make it more interactive. Yeah, I know we have different background, right? So, but just feel free to ask questions here. Yeah, so this is the honeypot. Just remember that for the honeypot system, once it's hosted, whenever there's traffic, right, then you know that it's from attacker. So we will not violate the privacy of these normal users, right? Because otherwise, that's kind of risky, right? And sometimes we can engage the attacker, right, and try to waste their time, right, because they think this is real, right? And yeah, so we can also deceive the attacker even by uploading some information. So as we will see that later on, I will show you lots of the results. The attacker, they believe this is a real. They upload lots of the malware. Yeah, because later on they will use this IoT device to launch attack to other systems. So we observe lots of this kind of behavior. Yeah. So the key here is that for this kind of honeypot system to be useful, there are two things we have to remember. So the first thing is that the honeypot system, so they are designed to be vulnerable. But you don't want to patch this system, right? For example, maybe certain software, right? It has certain vulnerability, or maybe the operating system, right? Maybe Windows, now 97, or maybe older operating system. So we don't want to patch them, because once you patch it, then attacker cannot attack you, right? Cannot compromise you. They cannot get into your system, right? So we intentionally, right? We design such kind of system, right? So which will, still have all these known vulnerabilities. So then, as long as the attacker knows, okay, so what kind of systems we are running, right? So they will know, okay, for this system, it has this known vulnerability, right? So they will use certain tools to attack it. That's our purpose, right? So that we make it vulnerable. Okay, so this is the first thing. The second thing is that, as I mentioned, right? So these kind of systems, their hosts, they only can be visible to be accessed by attackers. A normal user will not access this kind of system. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Can you disguise it as something like Windows 97 or Windows 98 to make it appear vulnerable for the honeypots?
Yeah, okay. So your question is, so if your host, right, the system is a Windows system, a Linux system, right? So now can you somehow use Honeypot to make it like a Windows system? So certainly you can do that, right? You can use a virtual machine, right? So that's a way of, right? You can present yourself, right? Yeah. So of course you can, you can mimic, right? This kind of entire system, right? Even OS, right? Or maybe some of the cases, like what we are doing here is more like specific environment, right? Protocols, like for maybe real-time streaming, try to emulate like as a certain types of camera, so such kind of maybe simpler, this kind of function, But that's a very good question. Okay, so it's not working. Can you click the? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, so here let me give you some traditional this IoT camera honeypots that people designed. So here's we try to pretend to be a camera, and so we have something called like a low interaction honeypot. So the way it works is very simple. You just record a video, right? Record a video. So then whenever there's access, right, to this IP address, you just play the video, right? So try to see, okay, this is a camera, right? So of course this is not interactive, right? And it's static, right? All the information is just fixed. And the other way is like a high interaction honeypot. So in this case, you use a real device, the real IoT device, the camera, right? So then let the attacker play with you, right? So then attacker can zoom in, right? They can turn left, right? They can adjust the angle, and they can so basically in this way, right? Of course, it looks real, right? It is real, right? But the thing that is kind of expensive, right? And you can serve one attacker at one time, right? You need to use the real device. So this is sometimes if the camera is under the control of the attacker, then even you may capture something sensitive, right? Private kind of views, right? So that also cause a problem, right? So I mean, in YouTube, you see lots of surveillance camera, right? You can certain city, different angles, right? You can, I mean, but the thing that how do you know if they're real, right? So so in our case, we designed this something called Honeycam. Right? We have the design goal is just try to be as real as the real one, right? The real camera, and we will support this it's a software. We're not doing hardware, okay? But we will, be able to emulate this kind of this functionality, right? So allow the attacker, issue commands the same as the attacker, interact with the real device, right? Zoom in, zoom out, right? They can tilt and pan. And we will not require to use hardware, so it will be more scalable. Okay, we can serve many, attackers. Okay, and then we can collect and analyze the attacker behavior, and we can also, engage the attacker by wasting their time, right? So these are different things we can do, and also sometimes, you can protect the home user, right? So if you are away from your home, right? So then if the attacker knows, right, you are away, there's nobody here, right? Then of course. They may find the opportunity to theft, the thief to come in. Right? Now, if you're home, there's the IoT camera, right, which shows that there's always somehow there's a car like parked outside your door, your door, right? So then it's just show that there's someone there, right? So you can actually in this way protect yourself, right? So this is our design, the way it works. So we have this defender, right? Basically that for our system, right? So we want to use certain something called like a 360-degree video. Okay, we pre-record some from certain scenarios, right? Maybe home environment, right? 360-degree video. I mean, if you don't know it, you can check YouTube. You will see that, right? Yeah. So then we can do some kind of transformation, right? This kind of 3D video to two-dimensional, the two-dimensional plane, right? Just like in what we see that most of the cameras, right, is two-dimensional. So, and then we can, at the real time, we can render, we can provide, right, this the frames, the videos, right, based on attackers' interest. So basically that, but our source is offline. Right, so we can, in offline, we can take some of these, videos, right, with the 360-degree pre-recorded videos. Yeah, so we do the projection to this 2D plane, and then at the real-time stage, based on attackers, the command, control command, their interest, we can generate the frames, okay, which looks real, just like the attacker interacted with the real. This IoT camera. So here's just a little bit of details. And we projection, right? This is something called the equal rectangular projection. So camera here is like in this sphere, right? In the center of this sphere. Okay. So then this is like this is 360-degree, right? For the video content, right? But we project this into this two-dimensional. As a rectangle, basically whatever you see, right? Most of the cases just like this. So so we generated the video frames according to the camera's current viewing angle and zoom ratio, and also we simulate this the pan or tilt, determine the speed and delay, because you need to, based on the real IoT cameras, right? It's not that fast, right? If you turn left, it's not like immediately, right? You will turn left. It will take some time. So that's the reason when we want to simulate this kind of behavior, right? We also need to estimate the speed, right? For the real device, right? From this angle to this angle, right? Turn left, right, or zoom in, out, right? So we want to also mimic this kind of behavior, right? So this is the thing that some of these details I will skip. Okay, so this is just an example, like in our building, right? The student took this 360, this 360-degree video, and then project this into this this two-dimensional, right, as a rectangle view, right? So this is so basically this is the door. It's kind of because after you do the projection, right, it becomes kind of twisted, right, because it does not look as obvious, right? But this is the initial camera. Let's say this is the initial camera position. Now the attacker want to control this, right, go up, right? So we see that this is changed. Right. So this is what we present to the attacker, the remote attacker. So attacker can up, right, left, and down. So everything just look real, right? So, but what we have is just Now in offline stage with this 360-degree, we already have the recorded the video. Then we project this into this one. So we serve the attacker at runtime, right, based on this the ERP of this this video. Yeah. So basically that's the high level idea. Yeah.
For the rectangular plane. Is there a more convincing method we can use? Like recently there was this game that came out called Unrecord and the graphics look real. If you could use like a game engine with a virtual camera, this is very new technology because it looks very real, or possibly AI, but of course AI would have to be more advanced to make it look absolutely convincing. In the future, are these two possible?
Yeah, I believe that based on AI, there's lots of potential. This is just like for our, our previous work, so we kind of use some heuristics, right? We based on this, all this, the kind of rules, heuristics, we design this kind of method. Yeah. So there's a reason later on you will see that how we evolve right to the AI-based approach. Yeah. So for the game, I don't know. I mean, certainly, their technology could be more advanced, right? I mean, in like a Facebook, right? They have this virtual reality. I mean, certainly they have more advanced techniques. Yeah. But for our case, we just want to simulate some kind of relatively small functionality. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So I hope I answer your question. Yeah. So let's just show you some results. You can see that we record some video and we deploy this in the AWS, right, Amazon, the cloud, right, for 3 months and in 3 different locations. And we compare this with real camera, right, and also pre-recorded videos. Okay, and we will see that how well they can attract the attacker, right? Okay, so here's the result. You see that for different Honeycam is the first one, is our system. Second one is the real camera, and third one is recorded video. And for different attacks, it is able to receive. Right? And so the most common attack is the port scanning attack. So basically, the attack just try to scan each device, like which port, right? Because each port might be corresponding to certain services, right? So yeah, so basically the port scanning is the most common. Then the attacker access the video. You can see that both the real camera and the Honeycam, right? So our system, you can see that the attacker does, right? Attacker does interact with the video. They watch the video, right? They can do something. But for this pre-recorded video, of course, there's nothing they can control. Right? That's the reason that we don't see that. Yeah, and in different countries, you can see that US has the is the largest the source of attacker. I don't know where they come from. Yeah, and here, we can see that some of these attacker trees. Okay, we can see that what they do, right? So so these are the tools used by attacker, because every tool has its own specific pattern, right? The kind of request they send, we can know that okay, this is yeah.
What is like the recommended port number that's convincing? Is 22 enough, or should there be other ones as well?
Yeah, so based on the actual surveys, I mean, most of the case, all the ports, right? Not all the ports are open, right? Each system only have certain ports like SSH 22, right? Or maybe SSL 443 or something like that. Yeah. So I think that for the camera, so specific camera, they have different port numbers they use. Yeah, don't see the number here yet. But anyway, so yeah, they have different port number. So this is a way, for attacker point of view, you just scan all of them, right? So until you find, in most of the cases, you send some packet, then if the port is closed, then you don't receive anything, right? And or some kind of error message. Right? Otherwise, if the service is running there, you do receive the response. So basically, that's the way for attacker to know, okay, there's a camera running there. Right. So you can see that here. Yes, total percent of this port scanning, because this is the first stage, right? After the attacker is able to identify, okay, there's a camera, then follow up with the different actions. So we can see that for different tools used by attacker, and there's yeah, some of them do the botnet infection. Some of them, the attacker, they access the video and they interact with the video. They watch the video. We do see that. Okay. And yeah, so this is the time we observe, like how much time they access the video. And in the case of like recording the video, you can see that the average case like less than just a few seconds, less than 10 seconds. So they may feel that it's not interesting. They will give up. But in both the case here, these two codes, the real camera and our Honeycam case, the average is like they have spent more than 1 minute. And some of them more than 5 minutes. The attacker just play with the video because they, we are able to simulate this kind of, this control channel. Yeah. So you see that we are able to attract the attacker better. And here's the kind of control commands we received. Right? I mean, real camera and our system is about the same distribution. And so then in terms of like the stealthiness of the system, right? So if the attacker is able to realize, okay, this is a fake, right? So certainly, manually attacker, I mean, they may do something, right? But most of the case, there's like certain tools, like there's something called the shorten honey score is a tool, so they can scan the different, this IP addresses. They can tell you, if this is a real or fake one, right? Is a honeypot or not. So they based on the number of open networks, some of the heuristics. Right. So if this is 0 means that the honeypot, the host thinks this is a real system. 1 means it's a honeypot. So then you can see that in our case, right? So this is almost close to 0, right? So which means the tool will not be able to detect us as a honeypot. Right? But for the other systems, right, there's a recorded video case, right? So you can see that it's about 0.5. So they're more suspicious as a fake honeypot. Yeah, it's a fake system. Yeah, so our system is also quite scalable. We can, based on the how much money you want to spend, right? You can say based on the also the bandwidth, right? And so the CPU, GPU, right, availability. We can see that we can easily scale to simultaneously, right? We can simulate many IoT cameras. So this way, we can attract more attackers this way. Okay, so this is the first piece of work. Just quickly sum up. Yeah. So let me see the. Can you give me the my phone? We're good. Okay. Now it's 10 o'clock or already. Wow. So I have time to. Okay. Okay. So now let's move on to the second piece. Of the work. So the AI-powered security. So so in this case, so we want to design a highly adaptive, interactive honeypot through the reinforcement learning technology. Okay, so so first I want to give you a little bit more information about this. So for the attackers, so the way they interact with these IoT devices, and for now, they are not just blindly, right? Just send the packets immediately, right? Sometimes they also try to detect if this is a honeypot system, is a fake one. If it's a fake one, they will give up. Right? They don't want to interact with you. Right? So this is the kind of the techniques also used by attacker. So let's see here. Right? Attacker use certain tools, use search engine, right? Or use the mass scanner. It's a tool to scan the port, right? To identify certain services, right? Available. So then they based on for example, port number 22, right? This is SSH, right? Or port number 80, web, for the web server. So there's a banner. The banner checker. Banner is kind of like is the initial response message. So each initial response message may carry certain kind of features, characteristics of the service running there. For example, if it is a web server, right, the first response you get is like the HTTP version 2.0, something like that, right? Sometimes they even tell you, okay, this is a system, it's a Windows system, right, based on the header of this HTTP. Right. So actually the response reveal a lot information about the target, right, this system. So now based on this, we call this banner. Okay. So attacker can look at this, to know, okay, this is if it's interesting to attacker, right? So they can also use the honeypot fingerprint, and they also know that there's some existing, especially like a honeypot system in the industry. They know the way they respond. Right? Also has certain kind of characteristics. They know, okay, this is fake. So then they will not continue. Right? Otherwise, they know, okay, this is what is the device, right? It's running the Windows system, right? Windows Windows 7, right? Or even Windows 95. Right? So then they know, okay, for this kind of system, what kind of vulnerabilities are available, because for now there's lots of like CVE is a vulnerability database. It's available in the internet, right? So they know that how to attack these kind of systems. So as I mentioned, honeypot systems are designed to be vulnerable, right? So that's the reason they can compromise them. So then in the end, if they have the success, they will upload the malware. Okay. So now if we want to design a honeypot system, right? So we want to bypass, right, all these this called the pre-attack checks. So we have to be smarter, right? Not to review yourself. So here our design goal is so we want to engage the attacker by adaptively responding to their requests. So then it will be more like real IoT devices. So here we are more like in the network protocol level. It's not like a camera, right? So just like the messages, request, response. Right? In this way, we try to simulate, right? We try to mimic some real IoT devices, real, this routers or switches. Yeah, so we want to evade the detection as a honeypot by the attacker, and we want to mislead that attacker to upload their malicious software samples, because that's our ultimate goal, right? Yeah, to get their samples, and then we collect, analyze their traces, for the defender. So here's to do this. It's not an easy task because we need to first collect some real the behavior. Because for the IoT devices we have, right? So for example, for the surveillance camera routers, right? So we don't know how they respond to the normal, this user. We don't have this like necessarily know their protocol, specification, right? We can now build up this protocol, right? So we have the device, but it's like a black box, right? We have all these IoT devices, so we need to learn how they respond to the to the real time, right? This requests, attackers. So that's the reason in the first stage we have like about 20 IoT devices, right? We purchased and we deployed that right behind this the cloud. So in the cloud side, so here's AWS, right? So we have this honeypot system, a very simple one, just a forward, right? The attacker's request to the background, these IoT devices, maybe randomly choose one, right? Every time when it comes, choose a random one to respond. But once they start to engage with each other, we can record, right? Because this is real, right? Real device, So we record this kind of behavior, right? The requests and the responses. So this is a way to learn, right? The behavior of these normal devices. Later on, we can, build a system which can mimic all these, devices. So in the real deployment, we don't need to use these devices, right? But this is a stage we need to collect some traces. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Smart devices.
Uh-huh.
For smart plugs, actually never seen before. Then for the smart thermostat, how would that be useful to the attacker? How would it be useful for the attacker to know what the temperature is using the smart thermostat? I don't think, like, if he changes the temperature, people would notice anyway. So that wouldn't really be useful to the attacker. And I don't really know what a smart plug is. Can you explain what that is?
Can you repeat the first part because before you use the microphone? Yeah.
So the smart thermostat, I don't really think the attacker would look for that because it looks like it's not useful
it's not useful information. I don't know, changing the temperature, people would probably notice that immediately.
Okay.
It changes gradually, and they would notice that. And then, as for checking the temperature of a room, I'm not sure how that would be useful for the attacker. So why would they target the thermostat?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. So certainly sometimes the attacker is malicious, right? They want to mess up with the actual these IoT devices, right, to cause damage to the environment, right? So this is certainly the one of these possible, intention. But most of the cases, as we know, is that the attacker they compromise these systems, use them to attack some other systems, for example, to launch denial of service attack. That's the reason they upload the malware. This malware will interact with the, some remotely with other parties. So they will be used to send the packets, right? Maybe at the same time, if you have millions of these devices, right? They're all compromised. So attacker can send issue a command. Now let's launch attack, right? Or send lots of packets to White House, right? So this is basically they use this, right? Compromise the IoT devices, right, as like a zombie, So this is like form this botnet. So it's not the ultimate purpose is not like to cause this to malfunction, right? Because that actually is a different purpose. Yeah, it's less kind of common, as we know. Yeah, but this is a good question. Yeah, I think it certainly can do that if they are able to control this system. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I hope it makes sense, right? The high level idea, right? So because we want to simulate, right, all these different IoT devices, right? So then we need to learn because we don't know how they behave, right? We don't know. It's just a black box. That's the reason we just forward the traffic from attacker. We deploy this in the AWS. Right? Behind this is just to collect the trace, know how it works. Yeah. So these are the different types of IoT devices we use. So mostly it's cameras, smart plugs, routers, different models, and each of them have a well-known vulnerability. Okay, so they are already, you can search that online. So attacker has a tool to exploit them. Okay, and then based on this, the interaction with the attacker. So what we build is the attacker graph. So for example, this is just a partial attacker graph for this camera. Okay, so because every time attacker interact with this device, because we remember in the testing case, right, we randomly forward this, the traffic to different IoT devices, right? So, but whenever they start to communicate, then it's a session. Right? We just keep a recording because if you send the first packet to this IoT device, the next packet follow-up packet to the different device, then of course it will mess up. Right? So we will just keep the session. Once they start to engage with each other, all the packets, the interaction from both will be recorded. So you can see that over time, right, for this device, you can see that from beginning stage, every time the attacker asks for different things. Right? Many times, of course, there's some common cases. Maybe one case is asking for this directory, right? Some other cases, so this is just one step, right? So they may have 2 steps, 3 steps, right? So this is like the final step, and then attacker stop. Okay. So we don't necessarily know what they are doing, right? But we know that right, sometimes they can interact with you for multiple steps. Okay. And some of them, less, So you can see that here, so this is called the pre-attack checks, right? They just interact with you, ask for different files, right? And there's certain cases we observe, right? So then attacker, through the interaction, they figure out, okay, so what is the system, right? There's a vulnerability there, they know, right? This is the vulnerability. And then the final stage, attacker upload the malware. So this is the ideal case, this is our goal, right? We want to somehow, through the interaction later on, right? Through because our Honeypot is a software system, right? So we want to attract the attacker to, maybe every time, but of course it's not like every time go directly to here because they'll become suspicious, right? So through this interaction, but we want to, achieve this final goal. Attacker upload this. So the question is, how do we select the response then given the attacker's request, right? When the request comes in, now what do you do, right? Because there are many choices, right? So what the response should you generate? So in this case, our goal is to emulate different types of IoT devices, not just fixed to one type. Okay, and also we want to the final goal is right to see attacker upload the malware. So the technique we are using is called reinforcement learning. So basically, this is a type of machine learning technique where an agent learns to make decisions by interacting with the environment. Okay, so this is I'll just give you a little bit more details. Next slide. Yeah. So the goal is to maximize the cumulative rewards over time, right? And through this trial and error, adjust the action based on this feedback. So this is quite famous use that, if you remember in AlphaGo, AlphaZero, right? I mean, in Google, right? A number of years ago, right? So basically they use reinforcement learning, right? To interact with the player, right? Play the chess, right? So basically that's, this basically the agent you play with, right? This, the environment. So, so this is the high level idea here is that now the attacker this is a deployment stage, right? Attacker interact with our Honeypot system, right? We have this reinforcement learning agent. So which will decide, okay, which response you should generate. So we have the response database already generated through this the previous training collecting phase. Yeah, so the agent will model this interaction through a Markov decision process and select the proper response at the runtime based on the interaction history. Okay, and then log all these attack sessions. So then you can you can further grow your database. Okay, so here's the a little bit more details about this reinforcement learning idea, why we use it. Okay, so so we model this this reinforcement learning, right? The model this interaction between the agent and the environment, use this as this Markov decision process. So here you have the agent, right? So the agent observe, right, the environment. Right? So the environment is in certain state. Okay, is in certain state. So based on observed state, now the agent take an action. So your action will cause the change of this environment, which means that the state will also change. Right. So this is the case here. So the state will become a new state. So then every time, right, the agent make a decision, you get a reward or penalty based on how well, right? I mean, you can say that initially even human can provide this this kind of reward, and there are certain policies you can use. Okay, so we can map this kind of reinforcement learning problem to our setting. Right? So we have the honeypot is the agent. So the environment here is the attacker, different attackers. Right? So now in this case, based on attacker's request comes in, right, we take an action, we choose a response. Right? So in this way, so we will also issue the reward, right? And also, let me see that so then basically we just hope that this the agent will become smarter, So eventually, then you upload more attacker will upload more malware samples. So this is the MDP model. So I will skip the details anyway. Yeah. So basically, that's the state, which is the attackers the session history, and the action is that this honeypot, right? We select a specific response from a database, and I will skip the details here. Yeah, so this is a way, because you have different states, right? So you need to, every time you choose something with a certain probability, right? It's not like random, right? Randomly choose each of them with the same probability. But we calculate this based on the history, the transition probability. I will skip this. One thing I want to mention is the reward. Okay, for each state now, we will give the negative reward if the attacker terminates the session without exploiting any vulnerability or uploading any malware, which means it's not successful. Right? Big positive if the attacker sends malware, download the commands. Right. So this is we give the bigger reward, and a small reward for the if attacker exploit the other vulnerability, but there's no malware upload. Otherwise, by default, just give 0. It's just exploring something. Yeah. So through this way, we can we can train our reinforcement learning model, right? This And yeah, some of the details like which policies you should use, right? So we skip here. Okay, so then let's see that the result. We implement this Honey IoT. This which is a Honeypot. Right? So this is the result just for the camera part. Okay. We want to emulate these 6 different types of IoT cameras, and we deploy them on AWS for 3 months. Then we have some comparison, a baseline to show that if this is better or not, right? So one of the baselines is that when this the request comes in, we just from the response randomly pick, for 6 types of IoT devices, we just randomly pick one, right? The responses, and we also have this comparison with existing Honeypot, right? Which is an open source Honeypot called Sencun. Yeah.
For the reward for the AI, like with these sorts of like training, usually for a mouse, we give them cheese. How does the AI know what something is like good or bad? Like a reward system.
The reward system in our case, right? Because let's say that right, if in the end you upload a malware sample, right, then which means that all your selections, right, are correct. It's good selection. So basically that we can assign the values. It's just that in our case, we give 50 right, for this success, and the fails then -10 or something like that. If the attacker just stop at the early stage. So this is for now. It's like we don't have this scientific evidence. Say, okay, 50, why not 40? We just use this kind of number and we tried it. I hope this makes sense. So it's So then here we can see that this is a major result. You see that the one in the right angle and this the box, right? Here's our result compared with baseline, just randomly respond, right? And the existing system, you can see that there's a totally the number of attack sessions, right? That engage with attacker, right? Including the initial message, right? It's about the same in 3 months window, right? It's 29,000, but the average session length, right? So you see that in our case, session length means that come back and forth, right? Request response, right? Engage with each other. So in our case, it's almost like 7.57, so like 8 times back and forth communication, right? But the baseline is about 5, which means interact for 5 times, they give up, attacker give up. And in this existing Honeypot system, it's only about 4, right? Back and forth 4 times, they stop. And the vulnerability exploited, in our case, is the most, right? About 3,000 vulnerabilities exploited, but the other cases is much smaller. And the malware samples collected, we collected about 467 malware. Right? So which means that we are successful, right, to lead the attacker, right, to that the stage. So basically, because we train this, right, with the reward. So basically, that the model, they learn, right, how to feed it. Of course, there's still some randomness. Right? Otherwise, every time we give the same, right? We still have this kind of the randomness, but but we are quite successful, right, in attract the attacker. You see that the existing Honeypot system only 3 months, you only have 14 uploaded. Right? So this is quite a big success. And here is so we can simulate different types of IoT cameras. You can see that this is a distribution, the 5 types of IoT cameras, which means that we are able to simulate different IoT devices. But for other systems, baseline mostly is a very simple case. Basically, it has a very simple, easy to explore vulnerability. So that's the reason lots of this case there. And for this one is mostly all this camera with it's a easy to explore this vulnerability. But in our case, we can simulate different types of these IoT devices, with about the same probability. And here's the malware, the types of malware we collected. You can see that there's a malware botnet. This is the most common one. So you can see that we collect the most. Right? So for all these different cases, we collected the most, and some of the the baseline one, only collected malware, not others. So you see that this result is quite positive. And here's the, again, the covetousness, right? The stealthiness. We again use this, the Sheldon honey score to measure it. You can see that the other systems, right, they have quite large, right, these values, which indicate they're likely honeypot. But in our case, for three different types of this camera or routers or smart plug, right, they're almost like zero, right? So which means that they not be able to detect our system as honeypot. Yeah, so this is a quick summary of the second part. Let's see how I'm doing with the time. Okay. 7 minutes. Okay, so let me speed up. Okay. Yeah, so the last part is so we use a large language model, to simulate the honeypot. So here, in this case, we want to simulate this kind of shell environment. So we know the shell is right. If you look at this, we are quite familiar, right? It's just like the command line, right, interpreter, right? So because in some other case, if attacker compromises your system, so after that they will interact with the shell, right? So now in this case, we want to see that how successful we can use this kind of the large language model to simulate the shell instead of like the real one. Because for the real one, if the attacker compromises that, they may use the shell to launch attack against the other systems in the same network. So that could become risky, right? But of course, if we use large language model like ChatGPT to interact with that, of course, this attack will not happen. Right? So there's a reason for us to do that. So I will skip for the interest of time. I skip these details. Yeah. So the question is, can we use large language model to construct this the shell honeypot? Yeah. So and here, so certainly idea, I mean, it's simple, right? You see, okay, let's do it. So we have this called a vanilla large language model. We have different ChatGPT 3.5. We just measure, right, the performance of these different large language models to interact with the attacker. Okay, so these are actually real attacker commands, So we collected, so we just measure that, use just existing large language model. Do not do anything. Okay, just use them, whatever they're doing, right? So you can see that this is the accuracy, right? Accuracy is some of them are high for certain commands, right? They give you, if you type this in the command line, they do give you correct result, but some of them, actually the result is bad, right? So that's the reason. So we see that there's an issue with inaccuracy problem, and sometimes you attacker use this the curl, right, which is to download, right, a file, right, to the local device, and then the ChatGPT, or let's just use ChatGPT as an example, right? You see your command is not found, but actually the command is valid, right? So you see that sometimes they're not accurate, right, to answer this, and sometimes the content is incorrect, right? Attacker want to LS, right? See the content, and ideally, right, I mean, in the Linux system, right, you should see some files, but here you can see that it shows that like the Windows system type of the content, right? So attacker immediately know, right, this is fake, right? It will not happen. Yeah. Well, let me finish first. Yeah, because I only 5 minutes, right? Probably, Yeah. So I mean, maybe let me finish first, then you can ask it. So then I can better. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So other cases like the consistent problem, right? If attacker keep interact with you, right? After a while, the ChatGPT may forget about what he answered before, right? So here you see that. So CD into this directory, right? You download this file, right? So everything that read seems correct so far, right? You change mode, like permission, right? And so then here you run it, change the permission to executable, right? So it says no such file or directory, right? But actually you already downloaded, supposedly, right? So which means that it failed. It could not remember this. Okay, so then how do we solve this problem, right? So one idea is use in context learning, right? So basically that, we want to give this large language model some samples, right? So just we have this like a 0 shot, 1 shot, right? Give one example, or give few shot, give few examples, right? So then they will quickly learn that without retraining the model, right? So ChatGPT will not tune its parameters for you, right? But you can give some examples, so then it can learn. Yeah. So here's an example. Yeah. So this is a case when it failed, right, with the original case. Now, when you give the prompt, you will see, okay, suppose you are simulating a Linux shell response without any explanation, right? So here's one example we give to the model. So then you see that now in this case, right, if attacker issue the if configure, we give the correct result, right? So this is useful. Another idea is called the chain of thoughts. So basically, you want to, just somehow help the this model, right, to think through this step by step, right? So have this intermediate reasoning before the final answer, right? So this is the case when it failed, right? So basically, to echo this, right? So basically, this content to this file, right? So then in the middle, you do something else, okay? So there's some other commands not relevant. So after a while, you get this, right? You want to see what is the content inside this file, right? So it should be right, these characters, right? So, but this one say no such file, right? Because it forget about it. But now in our case, it's in the chain of thought, right? So now in this case, we give the session history, right, to the LM. So then it actually, in this case, it will be able to give you correct content, which is this is just in the ASCII representation of this content, yeah. So then we know that okay, this this kind of this command, the history is useful because you notice there's a difference, in terms of like original case now with the more information, right? So in this way we can build up and learn through the history. Okay, quickly, so I just give you result with the evaluation offline. We already collect these attack traces, right? So we can play with this our new system, right? So then. So in an attack session is successful if generated responses are accurate, right? Accurate and consistent. So you can see that here this color, what is the color, right? This red or So this one is with the prompt engineering, our new system, right? This is original. You can see that the session length now is increased a lot, and it's also it has a more success rate, which means that the response just look correct, yeah. And we also deploy this in the in the real system for 3 weeks, and you can see that with different LM models, right? So you can see that the effective attack sessions. This is a number. So seems ChatGPT 4.0. I think it has the average session length the highest. So it performs better than some other cases, yeah. Okay, so it's quickly, so basically that's what we presented. So then the last slide is just the future trends in in AI-powered security. So so I think that the one future is just I would say that integrate this heuristic and AI, right, for better results, because heuristic sometimes is is still powerful, accurate, right? But of course we know there's some limitations. So combine them will be most powerful. And continuous learning systems, so this is basically what is capable of, right? So other things, for the autonomous cybersecurity. So basically that not just you know how to respond, right? You detect. You maybe also know how to respond to the attack, right? And update the system. So all these things in the previous study you may have to through the manual approach, right? Different stages, right? But now you can maybe automatically, you can pipeline, right, from detection, right, defense, right, and there's some other processes, all by the AI itself, right? So this is also, I think, the bigger future. Okay, so that's all. I hope I did not. 1 minute.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zhu. We have 10 minutes for Q&A. If anybody has any questions.
Is it better to create a sort of honeypot that accepts SSH connections with AI directly, or is it better to have a honeypot that passes info to the AI?
Can you say again? You mean what is better?
What is better, using Cowrie, for example, for an AI to analyze what the hacker is doing, or just to have a fake system entirely made with AI that the hacker can interact with and then think they're in a system, but they're not?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
because I mean, as an honeypot system, right? So certainly your goal is to just try to act as much as a real system, right? So that's the thing that certainly you will analyze, you will log this interaction, right, with the attacker. But the ultimate goal is, right, because you want to understand the attacker, their behavior. So then later on, right, you can build up this certain the classifier, right, or rules, right? So there are different things we can do. So so I think that AI, use the AI to analyze, right, the results. There certainly is one of these, right, the things we should do. Yeah, but as a honeypot system itself, mostly it's just try to engage the attacker, because once you know the malware sample, right, now we have a time window, right, we can actually analyze them. So as actually some of the results we not presented here, we upload the results to like a virus total, right, to help us to analyze this. Yeah, so we can generate the signatures. Yeah. Okay. I think. Yeah.
I need to turn on. Hey, hi. I have just one question. Can we use the same technology in containers? Because I have some container, for example, that we need to, if we import and export international transactions, they need to have the temperature control inside of the container. Can you use this technology to this container, for example?
Or you mean inside the container instead of like Docker container?
Yeah, the Docker container.
Instead of like a virtual machine, or?
Yeah, the inside, yeah. No, not the machine is specific for the container, because I have a specific containers, they need to control the temperature, for example, to import fish, let's say. And sometimes this container take, I don't know, 1 month to get in the scene. And can we use the same technology to protect, to have the cybersecurity, let's say that the temperature control inside the container, beside the port, for example?
Beside the port. So container is, and I think that one of the limitations with the container is mostly like it's the graphic interface, right? But otherwise, I think is container itself is like also a full-fledged system, right? For example, Linux system, it also support everything. So certainly, it's able to support our system. We can run it, because in a case like here, the Honey IoT, right, or these systems, right? So the front end, we deploy this in the front end, but the back end, right? So basically, you just need to interact with the back end servers, right, to pick what is the response, right? So just because everything is just a message, right? Attack a message comes in, right? Now you need to make a decision and algorithm, right, to decide, right? So now which response you should generate. So it does not really require some powerful, this functionality. So it should be able to run, our system, yeah. So I hope, I answer your question, yeah.
Any other questions? Oh.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Do you think with the advancements of AI, do you see that it is easier for the attackers to make these types of attacks, or do you think it's easier for us to defend,
Okay, that's a good question, yeah. So certainly, right, I mean, attackers, this is kind of arms race, right? It's never end, right? So attackers, certainly, they will use more and more powerful AI technology, right, to design their attacks.